Hello everybody and welcome back to another tutorial by NovaPans Handpans. Today we're going to be covering the second part of the first song on a Hijaz scale. So if you haven't seen the first video, check it out, but just as a quick recap, the Hijaz scale is known to be a little bit more Egyptian sounding. It's definitely a minor scale, if not anything it's a diminished minor, diminished scale rather, you can't really put them together, but diminished meaning it's a minor, an enhanced minor, so it sounds very mysterious, very suspenseful, tells a lot of story with a lot of drama in it, and that's what the Hijaz is about. So if you've got a Hijaz, you can probably pick up on this song by following the tablature or the notation or the sheet music, however you want to call it, in this lesson or the previous one. But you may also be able to apply the same methods and hand techniques to other scales. So don't feel that just because this is a Hijaz video, this won't work on your Amara, Pygmy, Kurd. It really will. So don't worry, it just might sound differently. So without any further ado, I'll do a quick recap of what the actual song is. Got this video up here as well. My toe is still broken, so it's got a little bandage on it, band-aid, so please just ignore that if it's standing up for you. So what we so this is the song we were teaching. This is the song 1 on Hijaz. Right, that was the beginning. And then that was, say, the second part, and then we enhance that even further. So in terms of the number of sections there, you've probably noticed that there's at least 3 or 4, at least 2 for sure. You've got the chords, which we covered in the first part of this song, the previous video. And then you've got the second part, which is with the knuckle. And that's the part we're going to be teaching you today. If we do a third part, which we probably will, it's probably going to involve those extra little in-between melodies like this. That'll be the third video. So if you're interested in doing the knuckle, little in-between riffs or fills, however you want to refer to them, then tune into this video because that's what we're doing today. So as a recap, chords. Was a previous video. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Remember, each one has 2 beats. Why is that? We covered this in the previous video, but essentially it's to allow space between each note. And likewise, like so, to allow you to have enough space to play with the notes in between, such as this knuckle technique, which we're going to do now. Fortunately, this little riff, I'm just going to refer to as a riff from now on, is the same throughout the piece, so you don't have to worry about changing hand positions or hand combinations. It's the same. You play the chord, and then you go right, left, right. The handpan is pretty much a load of right, left, rights, or left, right, lefts, or whichever combination you like of the other hand, the alternate hand, following the other hand. So it's this constant adjacent on-off, right, left, or left, right, left, right, left, right. And that's exactly what's happening here. So it's together, 2 and 5, and then separate, 2, 5, knuckle. Sorry, we've got seagulls here by the sea, so they do enjoy being part of the video. You're just going to have to accept that also. Together, right, left, right. The second right, or you could say it's a third right, because we play the right the first time when they're together, 2 and 5 together, 2, 5 separate, and then the third right is on the knuckle. Now, we have covered this in a free introductory tutorial, how to use the knuckle. I personally use this first little joint section of the middle finger. Some people use the ring finger. I've seen people use their little finger first joint. Really, there's no rule as to what you should be using. You'll probably notice that the smaller the finger, the softer the sound, and the more effective that can be. You really want to experiment. So what I find is when I do the middle finger, I kind of get the rebound of the ring finger, and you get this. I wouldn't say it's it's more of a murkier sound versus just a little finger, which is very soft, or just the ring finger, which seems like it's really just isolated and clean. You hear that? That was the ring compared to the middle. Middle, ring, little. So it does definitely sound like, for me, if I want to isolate that knuckle sound and just get the clang, that sound, I would just go for my ring. But if I want to get something a little bit more like with reverb, added noise, I'd go with the middle. Middle, ring, little. And the little is basically the ring, but an even more subtle sound. Honestly, it's up to you, and it's not just up to you, it's how it sounds for you. So choose what works for you. I can't guarantee that these same techniques are going to apply the same for you. You just have to try it yourself, but you will be able to simulate the same effect. In terms of the actual placement of the knuckle, I'm kind of using, it's definitely the space between the ding and the edge of the ding, which is also known as the shoulder. In terms of the actual precise positioning of the knuckle on this section, I might say put it closer to the edge of the shoulder, because there's a difference between that's the edge and that's kind of the edge towards the ding. Ding, edge. Again, you want to experiment with that. Excuse me. After a few times of practicing it, in fact this is a tutorial in itself, you can actually determine the sound that's good for you. You see my left hand needs a little bit of practice. People develop a strong hand after a while. So there you go, that's the knuckles. So back to the song. Sorry, that's a little bit of a sidetrack there, but we have got a separate video on the knuckle you can check out also. 2 and 5 together, 2, 5 separate, and then the knuckle. Now, although I'm giving space between 2, 5 knuckle for the sake of demonstration, they are played immediately after each other. It's like 2, 5 knuckle, 2, 5, 1. I'm just going to say 1 because it is the first note. 2, 5, 1. Together, 2, 5, 1. Da, 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 da. Remember your click. Remember how we gave 2 beats for this chord? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. You have to fit in. You have to fit in the 2, 5, 1 in that second click now. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So if your chord is on the first click like this, do, do, do. The second click has to be do, 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 do. Like that. Do, 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 do. Okay? You're not, this knuckle is not landing on the third click. For example, click, click, click. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm just clicking with my left hand now. I should be playing that 5th note, but for the sake of this demo, I want to remind you of the pulse. And don't worry if it's too fast, just slow it down. All the professional musicians, in fact, before they're professional and when they're professional, they practice slowly. Rushing your learning is not going to help you learn faster. If anything, it's going to make you learn harder, if you know what I mean. It puts pressure on you, and it's easier to learn bad habits. So don't worry, there's no judgment or shame. If anything, it's more respected to slow down. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. So that was wrong because I did the knuckle on the third click. You see, it has to go click, 1, 2, 3, click, 1, 2, 3, click. So it's not a triplet, and I'm going to show you how in a minute on the notation. But it's 3 notes that fit into 1 click. So click, 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 click. Now notice how I'm doing the same thing but changing to the second chord here. The only thing that's changing is you're going from the second to the third, as we've already covered in the first part of this song. It's the same chords. You're just putting in those 3 extra notes on the second click. Do you see? Even slower. That might even be too fast for you, and I'm going to do the notation in a minute, but slow it down. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And again. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. So you can really slow that down. We'll play it even slower again. Let me get onto the sheet music now for you. So you'll remember the 5 staves or the 5 lines with sheet music, and I assume now that if you're watching this video, you've seen our previous tutorials on how to read sheet music for the handpan. So just for the sake of remembering, I'm going to put the notes up here again for everyone. And you've got the ding note in the middle line. Okay, that's known as, well, each of these notes, as you know from previous tutorials, do represent a pitch in traditional sheet music notation, but for the sake of learning the handpan, they're just there for visual purposes. Okay, so this is the ding in the middle. As we know, it's the middle note. You probably see my broken toe again. Apologies. The second note we put down here. Okay, that's the space below the line at the bottom, and that's the second note. So you've got the ding on the top, which you typically play as you would the scale start to bottom to top. You would play the left hand at the top, and then the right hand for your second note. And I'll put the numbers on as well. So you've got 1 there, 2. Put it next to the note. 1, 2, 3 we put on the line. Okay, these 2 are different. I know it's difficult to see there, but I will zoom in, so hopefully you'll see it. Plus remember, there's assistive sheet music practice material which we upload to every video, which you should be able to download from this page also. Just let us know if you can't find that, and this will also be notated there. 2, 3, 4th note is this first space above the line. 5th note on the line here, and then we start again here with the 6, 7, 8, 9. I think you'll remember that. If you're not sure, check out the previous tutorials. We cover this every time. I shouldn't really have to do a whole new tutorial every time I mention this, but you'll get it. eventually. So remember, we're in a 4/4 time signature, which basically means there's 4 beats in a bar. That's why I'm counting to 4 each time. 1, 2, 3, 4. And the notes are 2 and 5. So down here, 2 and 5. Now remember, the reason why these notes are not coloured in and they're just an open circle with a stem or a tail on the side there means that they are 2-beat notes, or at least in the UK we call them minims. I'm not sure what you call them in North America. And in France, I think it's a reference to their colour. They might call them white notes. But essentially, when you refer to their timing, how long they last, these count for 2 beats of the bar. So you've got 2 and 5 there, 1, 2. And then you've got 5 stays the same throughout. Then you've got 3 and 5. 3 and 5, right? There you go. 3 and 5, and then we change again, don't we? We go from 2 and 5 to 3 and 5 to 4 and 5. This line here just marks the end of the bar. Don't worry, it's not an extra note, but I'm glad someone intuitively reminded me that I need space to add notes later. Excuse the dirty tea towel. This is currently the best option I have. I know this isn't necessarily the most optimal setup, but I think people get that the teaching intention is definitely here, and that there is really sustenance in this whole setup. What I mean by that is, based on the reviews of the last 4 years, this is actually helping people, and also our customer support, whatever you want to call it. Our support line. If you message us, we will help you. There's no reason why you can't learn the handpan. It's a very intuitive instrument. I know I've had a couple decades of classical music training. If anything, it's been limiting me from learning the handpan, because the handpan you sit down with, you play, you just play. These are just references, okay? You don't have to be learning traditional handpan notation in order to be able to learn. This is just a visual aid. So someone had to write something to translate songs into writing, and this is what this is. So we've got 2 and 5, 3 and 5. Give a little bit of space there. I might have to do a new line. 3 and 5, 4 and 5 was the next one, remember, on the right side of the handpan. These are touching now because that space between and the line on the top are very close. Doesn't mean that they have any more of an intimate relationship. They're just next to each other. 4 and 5, and then after 4 and 5 you go back down to 3 and 5, and you can just about see that, so I'm not going to do a new line, but 3 and 5. So it's a loop, it's a cycle, and what I might do to indicate that you repeat it is I'm going to draw repeat marks on the end, which is basically looks like a reverse double colon. There you go. This bar here is a little bigger than the second bar. That doesn't mean it lasts any longer. These are the same length. And if you count the beats of the bar in green, you've got beat 1, beat 2, beat 3, because it's 1, 2. Remember how I would click a second beat each note? That's what this is. 1, 2, 3, 4. Just before, that's the second beat of that. The second beat of the second half of the first bar. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 again. Okay? That just loops, okay? And remember, once you remember that 4/4 means there's 4 beats in a bar. 4 of these, you could say simple timed or simple beats in a bar. It becomes kind of natural for you to remember, like habitual. 1, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so again, that was just a quick recap. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to add the second part, which is together, separate knuckle. Okay, 2 5 2 5 1 2 5 bum 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 bum. So I'm going to start this second beat a little bit. That's kind of the beauty of sheet music. You can position the notes wherever you like. It won't determine how you play them, but the way you draw them determines how you play them, or in terms of the rhythm anyway. So now, because I'm adding notes and they're related to this, or in other words, I'm adding notes before this next chord, the rhythm, the duration of the first chord, 2 and 5, is going to be much shorter. In fact, it goes from being a 2-beat note to just being a 1-beat note. Dun, 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 dun. Right? So now we've got dun, 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 2 5 and knuckle. Excuse me, I've not had breakfast yet. 2 5. It's going to be a little smaller than usual. 2 5 1. Now I put a cross, okay, or an X on the first line, on the ding line here, because it is on the ding, but it's a knuckle, okay? So you remember hopefully from previous videos that the knuckle, or sorry, the cross or the X typically indicates something percussive, and that's exactly what's going on here. 2 5 1. If you're wondering what's going on in terms of the actual design of the notes here, noticing how there's 2 tails on the first 2 notes and a single tail plus a connection here on the second. Check out our videos that explain quavers and semiquavers, or in other words, half beat and quarter beat rhythms. All this means is that these 2 are quarter beats and this is a half beat. 2 quarters plus a half is 1, and that's basically making up that 1 beat here, the second beat. So you've got dum 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 dum, or if I count that, 1 2 E and 3 4 1 2 3 4. So that's one way of looking at it. 2 E and is how you would count it. 2 E and. Another way of counting, I understand this is a big recap for most people, so I'm going to do it, but maybe other people already know what we're talking about here, so you can skip this. So thank you for your patience. When you count between beats of a bar, you can count either in 2s, 4s, sometimes even 8ths. For example, 1 2 3 4, right? You can count like that, or you can count as 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and understand that 4 just repeats. These are repeat marks, okay? 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, okay? These are the half beat notes. You can also put in quarter beat notes or semiquavers, and typically we denote these by putting little minus or subtraction marks in there, if you were to write it like this. And the way you would count or read this is by going 1 E and E, 2 E and You can go 1 E and E or 1 E and I'm going to go 1 E and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and notice how I emphasize the number with the on beat, the main beats, and that's really not necessary, but it's a reminder for everyone of where the main beats are. For the sake of this video, also, when you do play this progression, and you emphasize those on beats. So bum, 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 regardless of what you put between them, as long as you put a little bit of extra stress, not stress, but say weight, emphasis into those notes, it always puts the audience back in a certain time, which can be good and bad, or not good or bad, depending on how you look at it. It's a good reference of time. However, sometimes if we become too strict with time, it can kind of distract us from the expressivity of what story we're trying to tell. But again, we're just learning here, so don't worry too much about any of that. Just try to get the notes. So you've got 2 and 5, 2, 5, knuckle, 3. So the way you would play this is like this. Now remember your tempo. It's difficult because I don't have a third hand and my toes can't click yet, especially the broken toe. But this is how, with a tempo like this: 1, 2, 3, 4. Now you can download a metronome, which is basically an app which clicks a time for you. And Soundbrenner is a free one, which is very good. And you can set the tempo to 60 beats per minute, which is basically a beat every second, which should give you a little time, enough time to play this and practice it without worrying about rushing it. Alternatively, slow it down to say 50 or even 40. Again, there's no harm. If anything, there's only help in slowing down. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Just the chords. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And now with the little added 3 notes there on the second click. 1, 2, 3. Did you see that? I mean, did you get that? 2, 5, 2, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 again. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Notice how, and thank goodness you can skip and rewind. We still say rewind in the video because you can go over that. Notice how I am playing those 3 notes on the second click. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. You might feel that you have to rush those notes in order to quickly get to 3. But notice how click 3 really isn't changing position. It's always there. 1, 2. This camera, huh? This camera keeps stopping. Okay. It's a little more casual than I expected, but I've had to restart the camera. So I'll have to sync that in later, but that's okay. So you've got 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and I know that I have jumped ahead already, and I've already added the second parts of every chord already to all the chords. But essentially that's what it is. Once you get the first 2, 2, 2, 5 knuckle, you can apply the exact technique to the other chords. The only difference is that your first note starts on the note that you just played the chord on. So what I mean by that is you've got 2 and 5, 2, 5 knuckle, 3 and 5, 3, 5 knuckle, 4 and 5, 4, 5 knuckle, 3 and 5, 3, 5 knuckle. I'm going to notate that for you so you have a reference. I'm hoping you can see this. But again, there will be sheet music for you. 2 and 5, 2, 5 knuckle, 3 and 5, 3, 5 knuckle. Oopsie, that's like this. That's like this. 3 and 5 knuckle, there you go. And then 4 and 5, you guessed it, is also 4/5 knuckle, 4/5 knuckle. I hope these videos aren't too long. I know I get into the detail and I talk relatively off topic every now and again, but it should help you. 3 and 5 a week, play 3 and 5 again. So this is exactly the same, but it's over here now. 3/5 knuckle. Oops, I went a little lopsided on the knuckle there. And there you have it. This is, I should start putting names in there. Hijaz. This is song 1, so I denote it with an S. Part 2, so P2. Alright? By NovaPans Handpans. I'll put NovaPans Handpans in there as well. And I will play this one more time for you. Okay, if you have any questions whatsoever, let us know. That's a 2, not a Z, so it's not zips. Hijaz S1 Part 2. Okay? Like this. Remember your click. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Slow it down. 2 to 5 together, 2/5 knuckle, 3 and 5 together, 3/5 knuckle, 4 and 5 together, 4/5 knuckle, 3 and 5 together, 3/5 knuckle. Slow it down even more. Slow it down even more. End something like this, which is a trill, which we covered. Check out trills. I'm pretty sure we did a video on that. You basically alternate between 2 notes. If you can't do that with one hand, just do 2. You just play them together fast, and that's a nice way to end on any scale. And that's it. That's the video on part 2 of song 1 on the Hijaz. See you at the next one.